and talk to us about some of the topics of the book, which I've been reading. It's pretty juicy. I wrote down a few that I wanted to keep out of the discussion.
He actually owns a frozen yogurt shop in Brooklyn, in Stuyvesant. And him and Frank were our best friends. They grew up together since the 3rd grade. And when he opened the store, a lot of ladies would come into the store and, ask him, you guys are best friends, but you're married and you're single. How you guys maintain this friendship? So they started answering these questions, and then one young lady told him, you guys should really put this in the book. So we said to our, then they brought me on. Gina and I are actually cousins. So he brought me on, and he said, you know what, we should go out there and interview a bunch of guys, get some questions from the ladies that they want answered, interview these guys, and put it together and start a conversation.
When the customers would automatically come in and start a conversation, they would assume me and Gina are the owners of the shop. So when we would go, oh, so you and Frank own Brooklyn? He was like, no, me and my wife. So they're like, oh, Frank, you're married as well. I would say no. And then they'll be like, oh, why not? We'll go into details as, why and why not. And then that would happen one day. And the next day, it was constantly the same constant question, why? Why not? Why not? And then that's how that came apart.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not broken. It's my man. It's my man.
I do think that. Like when a man is of a certain age and he seems like he has his head on his shoulders.
It's pretty much game night on steroids. 300 adults, cards, spades, Jenga, Twister, bowling, pool table, speed dating, that whole deal. So just from the dynamic of that culture, I'm always in the midst of relationships.
When you think about relationships, you can't just hone in on male women. You have to think about relationships as a whole. Because him and I have a relationship. How do I make that relationship better? Because making that relationship, understanding relationships in general, make me a better person. So then it makes me focus and remind me of things in my own relationship.
Yeah, I do feel that this is a unique bunch, but at the other token, there's a bunch of guys out there that actually vent to us, saying, hey, you know what? I am so happy that you're putting this book out. And we actually, from the book sales, a lot of men are buying it, because I feel like it's finally a platform where it's not.
Is the one about why are you afraid to stroke his ego? Right? Because we're instantly sort of repelled by that idea. But then I have to admit, I asked my husband about it on Friday, and he was definitely like, yeah. Like,
do you find that women are afraid? I feel like a lot of women stroke their ego.
I thought so too, but I actually feel like we're more guilty of doing a little less maybe in relationships.
Yes,
because it's like, I love you, I don't have to tell you every day. Because my husband told me on Friday it'd be nice if I told him not just that dinner was great, but that I noticed he added a spice. And I was like, okay, like you're feeding me.
She go both ways.
And you don't want to get it to the point when he's finding those compliments on social media. He's posting certain things with certain likes and certain comments, because I can't remember the last time my wife complimented me on my jeans, boots, my haircut. It happens.
But then all the women on Instagram are like,
Yeah, well, I'm not cheating. Let me just go get a little feel good right here. It happens.
But I think it's about like finding someone's like love language, right? Because some women don't need to be complimented all the time.
You're right.
Some men don't.
Show me that you love me versus just telling me all the time.
Right. Reciprocity.
But isn't that also stroking the ego?
No, it is.
Either way,
Absolutely, it is. But like I was saying the other day to the guys, it almost has to be a balance versus the verbal communication, meaning verbally telling me you love me, and the action. So it has to be like, it has to be balanced.
and what was interesting is someone, I think it might have been Jean, someone said it, you get more out of it as a woman, like because if a man, if we're feeding your egos more, you will be better men. Multiple people actually, yes. We'll be better men, and I think that's interesting because I want to sort of understand what will make you work hard. It'll just because you got a compliment, you'll work a little harder at work. Like I mean, this better man idea, like.
But it's always like you empower the person to the position you want to see.
Okay.
So it's that person.
Absolutely. It's not one side.
It's not one side. It's reciprocity. It's 100.
But what's interesting is I do sometimes feel like if a man isn't into over complimenting his woman, he has to be careful because sometimes it can be like, well, I like it better when you wear this dress, or I like your hair better like that. And for women,
You talk about how our men getting that together, how those journeys are, and just any advice you all have on our relationships.
I think the toughest thing with that is with us being seekers and go-getters, and then with the media pumping what masculinity should be. You gotta have this. I think a combination of that with so many men who are misguided, especially in our community, no fathers, lack of fatherhood. I think that mixture gives a full sense of what masculinity should
Just because you feel like time is running out, when you have way more time than you think. But if you would just put the clock away and think straight, you end up in better relationships.
And to add to the clock is that independent word. Be self-sufficient, and then, wow, you can do for yourself, but you do want me included. All right, maybe I'll.
Same thing for Kel, you know, and that's why I want to show the single guys that, look, you know what, it's not about what you want when you get married. So when you find a wife or find a woman, don't look for the physical qualities, don't look for how much money or whatever it is. Look for someone that's going to add substance and value to the long term. You know, it's just like a business. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18. I don't look at how much money I'm gonna make tomorrow or a month from now. I look at what's gonna add value and legacy 50 years from now. I don't have kids, but when I do have kids, what I'm doing today, what we're doing right now in this room, this is history. If you've never been in a room, 8 men, married, divorced, single, engaged, I wrote a book called Single Man, Married Man. So we're presenting history, what it is 30 years from now, someone's gonna read this book and say, wow, this guy from New York did this. You know, so same thing with relationship. When you're looking for a wife, you don't look at what it is, how she looks now, because she's not gonna look like that 30 years from now. You know?
We asked them if they could ask a single man, a divorced man, and a married man the same question. So here are a couple of them. What makes you happiest in a relationship?
Married man right now, it's actually seeing my wife happy. And
Yeah, you didn't think she was here when you answered the question.
but you know what? To me, she's always around me.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're connected. but to see how she, you know, to see her smile, to see I'm actually doing the right thing, you know, makes me happy. You know,
So that I can come to my lady and, you know, effectively communicate my feelings, my fears, my wants, my dislikes, and like Delph said, not worry about being ridiculed for a week later.
Yes.
You follow me? So knowing that I have that comfort level with my lady makes me happy.
Somebody who supports like your peace of mind. Peace of mind meaning that you know you can trust them. They're encouraging. You know, you don't have to worry about necessarily what the person you're with is doing when you're not with them. You know, and then also
Information or secrets would you keep from your partner?
You know, the power of a secret is in keeping a secret. It's not a secret. So for me, it's like I have to be transparent.
Take it out.
I have to get that.
We could probably talk about this all day, but we can't talk about this all day. But thank you guys so much for coming in.
Will you do like a podcast?
That's a good idea.
I'd love to listen to you.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
That'd be really good.